For a long time, Clinton Chitwood's name sat in a strange place online, not famous, not infamous, just surrounded by questions. People whispered about CNC equipment like there was something they weren't being told. Videos hinted at secrets. Comments filled in the blanks. And then Clinton finally spoke, confirming that the rumors were real, but not in the way anyone expected, because what he acknowledged wasn't a scandal, a downfall, or a hidden disaster. It was something quieter, something far more revealing. And once you understand what was actually confirmed, the entire story flips on its head. This story didn't begin with headlines or breaking news. It started where most internet narratives do, small, scattered, and easy to overlook. A forum post here, a comment there, someone asking a routine question about CNC equipment and not getting a clear answer right away. That gap was all it took. Online, unanswered questions don't stay empty for long. People speculate, others agree. Someone adds context that sounds right. And suddenly, a pattern forms, even if nothing concrete connects the dots. Clinton Chitwood's name began circulating in these spaces without accusations, just implication. That's the key detail most people miss. No one was claiming a specific event. There was no allegation to disprove, just a growing sense that something feels off. And once that feeling exists, it spreads faster than facts ever could. Search results started reflecting the curiosity. Video titles leaned into mystery. Phrases like "what really happened" appeared without ever explaining what supposedly happened. But that vagueness worked in their favor. It let viewers project their own assumptions onto the story. The rumors weren't born from evidence. They were born from expectation. And that made them incredibly hard to shut down, because you can't correct something that was never clearly stated in the first place. Once curiosity reached a certain level, content creators stepped in. And that's when the story shifted from quiet speculation to amplified narrative. Thumbnails became darker, titles became sharper, words like exposed, truth, and confirmed started appearing, even though nothing new had surfaced. This is where perception overtook reality. Many of these videos didn't make claims outright. They didn't have to. They simply suggested that viewers were about to uncover something hidden, and suggestion is powerful. It tells the brain to search for meaning, even if there isn't any. Creators referenced each other. Comments became sources. Reactions became evidence. And slowly, repetition gave the illusion of confirmation. If enough people are talking about something, it feels real. Meanwhile, Clinton stayed quiet. To some, that silence looked professional. To others, it looked calculated. But online, silence rarely gets the benefit of the doubt. It becomes part of the story. People assume the response they never got means more than the words actually spoken. By the time Clinton acknowledged the rumors, many viewers were already emotionally invested in a version of events that never existed. And that's why what he said next caught people completely off guard. When Clinton finally addressed the situation, there was no dramatic reveal, no explosive admission, no hidden chapter suddenly unlocked. Instead, he confirmed something far simpler and far more uncomfortable. He confirmed that the rumors existed, not that they were true, not that there was a scandal behind the scenes, just that people had been talking, speculating, and building stories without verified facts. In other words, the confirmation wasn't about events, it was about perception. But here's where many viewers misheard him. Online, the word confirmed has been twisted. It no longer means proven, it means acknowledged. And that distinction changes everything. Clinton wasn't validating the rumors themselves. He was acknowledging the conversation around them. For some people, that felt unsatisfying. They expected a twist, a downfall, something dramatic enough to justify the buildup. Instead, they got reality. And reality doesn't perform well when viewers are expecting fireworks. This moment exposed how far expectations had drifted from facts. People weren't reacting to what was said. They were reacting to what they wanted to hear. And once that disconnect appeared, the story didn't end. It evolved. Looking back, timing played a huge role. Clinton didn't respond early on, and that allowed speculation to grow unchecked. But responding to vague rumors is a no-win situation. Address them too soon, and you give them oxygen. Ignore them too long, and they solidify. In this case, silence was interpreted as meaning, even though it wasn't meant to be. People assumed intent where there was none. They confused restraint with avoidance, and every day without clarification allowed assumptions to stack higher. By the time Clinton spoke, many viewers weren't looking for truth anymore. They were looking for confirmation of their beliefs. That's when clarification feels like denial, and denial feels suspicious, even when there's nothing to deny. This is the trap of online narratives. Once a story reaches critical mass, facts struggle to compete with expectation. The audience doesn't want resolution, they want escalation. And when escalation doesn't come, the absence becomes suspicious itself. That's how a non-story turns into a lasting rumor, not because of what happened, but because of how people reacted to what didn't happen. Even after things were clarified, the rumors didn't disappear. They lingered. Not because new evidence appeared, but because unresolved stories outperform resolved ones. Algorithms reward uncertainty. Videos that hint at unanswered questions travel further than videos that close the book. And so, speculation stayed visible while clarity faded into the background. Some viewers dismissed the explanation entirely. Others claimed it was only part of the truth. That's another common pattern. When reality feels too ordinary, people assume something must still be hidden. The lack of scandal became the scandal, and once that mindset takes hold, it's nearly impossible to reverse. Any explanation feels incomplete. Any denial feels rehearsed. Any silence feels intentional. At that point, the story no longer belongs to the subject. It belongs to the momentum. This is where language played its biggest role. The moment Clinton acknowledged the rumors, many viewers stopped listening past the word confirmed. Context didn't matter. Clarification didn't matter. The headline version replaced the full meaning. People heard what aligned with their expectations. That's how online narratives lock in, not through facts, but through interpretation. Once viewers feel validated, they stop questioning. The story becomes emotional instead of logical. Nuance disappears. Clips get shortened. Explanations get paraphrased. And soon the original message is barely recognizable. Clinton's acknowledgement wasn't dramatic, but it traveled through a system designed to make everything sound dramatic. And that distortion changed how people perceived the entire situation. At its core, this story isn't about Clinton Chitwood. It's about how easily narratives are manufactured online, how repetition replaces verification, how curiosity turns into conviction. The internet doesn't wait for facts. It builds stories in real time. And once those stories exist, they're incredibly difficult to undo, even when nothing supports them. This case shows how quickly silence becomes suspicion and how acknowledgement becomes admission. It reveals how audiences often chase meaning where there is none, and it raises an uncomfortable question. How many other stories do we believe simply because they feel true? The quiet truth is this: there was no hidden scandal to uncover, no shocking downfall waiting in the shadows. What Clinton confirmed wasn't wrongdoing. It was the power of speculation itself. The rumors were real because people believed them into existence. That's the part most viewers missed while waiting for a bigger reveal. The lack of drama wasn't a cover-up. It was the reality. And in a strange way, that's more unsettling than any scandal could be. Because it shows how easily stories form without evidence, how quickly perception overtakes truth, and how often people mistake volume for validity. Sometimes the most revealing stories aren't about what happened. They're about how people reacted when nothing did. And once you see that pattern, you can't unsee it. Because the internet isn't just where stories are told, it's where they're created.